Alright, what is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you live from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut. And in case you don't, season finale of the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series champion, or just season in general. So, this race was in Phoenix, and I decided, you know what, let's have some fun. When I was discussing the World Series, I decided to do, have a simulated game. So let's have a simulated NASCAR race. Now, the difference is instead of doing a simulation, I can't do a simulation in NASCAR. So I'm just going to be driving here in my Joey Logano car. And I'm not the best driver, but I'm only playing AI just in case I lose focus or something. I'm not going to upset people who are playing online. And I've chose Watkins Glen just because I've raced here multiple times. I haven't necessarily raced in Phoenix. I think I've only raced there once or twice before. But anyway, this video is going to be discussing how that race went in Phoenix today and all that good stuff. So the championship four were... So we had a pair of teammates from Hendrick Motorsports in Kyle Larson in the 5 car, Chase Elliott in the 9 car. And then we also had a pair of teammates, this time from Joe Gibbs Racing. Oh yeah, I slowed down all the time. And those two were Denny Hamlin in the 11 car and Martin Truex Jr. in the 19 car. Now, Chase Elliott was the defending champion. He had won in 2020. And Martin Truex had won once before. I believe it was in the mid-2010s. I don't remember the exact year. It might have been 2017, actually. It was somewhere in that mid-2010s, though. So, those two had championships. Larson and Hamlin did not. And right off the bat, we kind of knew that this was going to be an interesting season. So those 4 drivers had been probably the best 4 drivers throughout the whole season, all things considered. And of course, those are the 2 best teams in NASCAR, hands down. So it was always going to be fun to see what would happen. And we kind of had a feeling from probably mid-May that this was going to be Kyle Larson's season. However, just because Larson had a good start to the year doesn't necessarily mean he was going to have a great season, all things considered. But he did. He made it to the finals. He made it to the championship race. But of course, the thing is, you need to win the final race to win the championship. It doesn't matter. You could literally have the best... Sorry, Suarez. You could literally be the best driver. You could have 30 You could have 30 wins. But then you could blow a tire in Phoenix and lose, come in last place. You don't win the championship. So, that's always fun. So how did this race go, all things considered? So, pretty early, we had a couple wrecks early on. The first one involved Bubba Wallace. He LaJoy, who probably was pushed up by Ricky Stenhouse Jr., couldn't really see. The angles they showed wasn't great. Now, I only mention this wreck because Bubba seemed very upset with LaJoy. Now, those two are good friends. But now, is there going to be a rivalry going into next year? It's always kind of fun to watch that, because we don't know what's going to happen next year. We don't know if they're actually mad or if it was a heat of the moment, I want to have my last chance in 2021. I don't know if LaJoy is under contract for next year, but he probably is. If he isn't, he'll probably get an extension soon. So, later on, not too long after, LaJoy ends up spinning out. He hits the wall, so he didn't have a great showing either. He finished near the bottom of the pack. But for the championship 4, for the front 4, they were constantly running at the front of the race for the whole, basically the whole race. Now they were constantly rotating, and each one of the 4 had their time up front. In the beginning, it was the Hendricks boys, and then towards stage 3, we did start to see Truex take his time up front, and then Hamlin. And then we had a caution come out when David Starr spun out, and his car was done. Now, what this did is this forced all the cars to pit because there was only 30 laps left. And it couldn't have come at a worse time for the Joe Gibbs cars, as Hamlin and Truex Jr. were basically fighting each other for the championship at that point. They were the top 2 cars, no denying it. So, all of a sudden, at the restart, Kyle Larson's pit crew comes in clutch, and they have a great pit stop. So the front 4 were once more those front 4. And you had Larson and you had Hamlin on the front row, and then you had Truex behind Larson and you had Elliott behind Hamlin. So there weren't going to be any teammates helping out teammates there. So how did it end up working out? right off the bat, Chase Elliott he fell off a cliff, you know, compared to the other three. So it became a 3-car race for the championship. And it was pretty clear that Kyle Larson was the top car. He was the fastest moving car. But as the laps kept ticking away, other cars, the other 2 cars of Hamlin and Elliott, of Hamlin and Truex were catching him. Now Truex was right behind him pretty quickly. And he was doing okay. But as the race kept going on, as we kept getting towards the final 10 laps, it was clear that the fastest car on the track was Denny Hamlin. Now, Denny Hamlin, he probably should have gotten the top. You know, he probably deserved the championship a bit more than Larson. I guess you can make that argument. Both of them definitely deserve the championship, though. They both have been waiting for it. So, with how things were going, it was clearly just top 3, though. But Kyle Larson had a commanding enough lead that he didn't have to worry too much about Denny Hamlin. It was really Martin Truex Jr. who was trailing him. Now, at one point, when there was less than 10 laps, I believe it was about 5 laps to go, Truex kind of had to, you know, quickly hit the brakes for a split second. That really hurt him. Him having to hit the brakes there messed up his momentum, and at that point, it was pretty clear that Kyle Larson was going to be able to hold on to win the 2021 championship. Now, it wasn't a fluke. This was not his only win or anything like that. This was his 10th win of the year. He was the best car by far this year. No one else had 10 wins, of course. No one else, I believe, had any more than, I think the second place car was at 4 wins? Maybe 5? I'm not 100% sure. But, you know, at that point, Kyle Larson was clearly the dominant car. The Hendricks Motorsports team, they were the best team of this year. There wasn't even any debate of it. They're the best team in NASCAR history right now. They have the most wins in NASCAR history. So I'm extremely happy for Kyle Larson. Of course, I was pulling for Denny Hamlin. I know I mentioned that in the last video. But I'm just happy that Chase Elliott didn't win, of course. You guys are probably going to get upset with me for saying that. But I was happy when Elliott fell off. I was like, okay, good. Unless there's another caution. Chase Elliott's going to be out. He's not going to win it. So it was kind of tough. But Kyle Larson, you know, he had a tough season. Last year, it's been talked about a lot. He's just been kind of in this position. Weird. He's been in this position, though, where, you know, last year he had taken a punishment because he had, believe it or not, iRacing like I'm doing, although we're watching a replay right now. So, he said a certain word. He got suspended for the 2020 season. So he actually ended up watching the 2020 championship, which was held in Phoenix, sitting on his couch, similar to what I was doing this year. So it makes you think. He came back, he got a chance from Hendrick Motorsports, and he took the best of it. He served his time, so I'm very happy for him. He's a great driver, you know, he deserved it. I do really wish that we got to see, you know, Denny Hamlin get a championship, but there's still time for him. Truex already has one, so he doesn't need one. But it's going to be interesting. This was the last race that will ever be held with this generation of cars. The 2022 season will have the next generation of cars. So, I do also want to give a shout out to some guys. First things first, though, Kyle Larson, congratulations on the win. Well deserved, best car of the season. Now, I've heard people say this could be the next, like, Richard Petty-esque dynasty. I don't believe that. We're in 2021 now, going to 2022. There's too many cars, there's too many different technical advantages that you don't have anymore. Everyone's in the best now. This is the best of the best. So you're not going to be able to have that anymore. Despite that, though, I do have to say that, you know, it's going to be fun for him. He's going to have a good night, and the team's going to be celebrating. I do want to give a shout out to the Xfinity winner Daniel Hemrick. His first ever win happened to come in the championship. Clutch championship win for him. He snatched it from Austin Cindric at the last possible second. That was a great race. Shout out to Ben Rhodes. He won the Truck Series championship. So, you know, we have our NASCAR's done for now until February. Late January, actually, they have some races, but those don't matter at all. So, it's going to be fun, though, despite that. Other than that, I do want to give a shout out. If this was Ryan Newman's last race, he had a great career. He was always a good driver. Of course, we're always going to remember what happened with him in the 2020 Daytona 500. He could have been the champion in 2014. He was very close, came in second, but it is what it is for him. It wasn't the worst. It could have been worse, could have been better. Other than that, I don't know of any drivers that are really considering retiring. I would have considered maybe Kurt Busch, but Kurt Busch is obviously going to go to 23XI, I guess, 2311 Racing next year. So he's not going to be retiring. He's got a new job already. I hope that we can see Anthony Alfredo get a new job. It's going to be interesting. You know, I'd like to thank Brad Keselowski for everything he did for Penske. He's obviously no longer going to be driving for Penske next year. But I'm happy to see Austin Cindric take his spot. So, yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the NASCAR season. It was a good season. Once more, I've been saying this, but once more, congratulations, Kyle Larson. Great season, all things considered. And, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a good rest of your day. And definitely stay safe out there.